And welcome back to the Soar Higher podcast, a show for leaders by leaders that's focused on providing business and career advice, tools, and resources to help people achieve higher levels of success in their lives. I am your host, Coach Jason Ballard, and welcome back to the show. For the past few weeks, we have been focused on how to end the current year, 2022, on the best foot possible. We've been doing a three-part series on how to close out the current year as strong as possible, looking at your finances, looking at your strategy, looking at your goals, looking at all the things that you may be doing and had planned to do for this year, and looking at the first 3 quarters of performance and determining, are you on track? Are you off track? What do you need to do over the next 3 months? What changes or things do you need to be thinking about differently, or adjustments do you need to be making in your business to make sure that you end 2022 on the in the way that you want to, as strong as possible. The second part of the series was introducing strategic planning. We talked about what is strategic planning. A lot of people don't do strategic planning. Roughly 80% of the businesses out there don't do the planning. A lot of people are scared of strategic planning and what that really is, and they think it's just for the larger corporations out there. However, as we discovered, the reality is every business needs to have a plan. If you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail, as they say. And so we broke down the major components of a strategic plan. What is a strategic plan? It's a document for which aligns all people in the company to common goals and objectives. We talked about the components of a strategic plan, when to conduct the strategic planning, which is about this time of year in the fall and in the start of the fourth quarter normally. And then we talked about the process that you go through to ensure you do a strategic plan the right way and get the results you're really looking for. Today is the third part of a three-part series where we wrap up strategic planning. At the end of this three-part series, our goal, our hope is that you are able to have all the tools and resources you need to be able to outline what success looks like for the end of this year, and what success looks like for the new year, so that when we turn a new year and we celebrate the 2023 kickoff of a new year in January, that when people come back to work, they have a plan, there's priorities, there's goals, people are excited to come back, and you've got a way for them to engage and kind of hit the ground running, working on the things that are most important to you. So, as we talked about the components of a strategic plan and the process and how and when to do that, today we're going to kind of step through that in finer detail. You also need to learn how to go through that process. And so today we're going to talk through that and give you the final important pieces of this puzzle for you to put it all together. So, going to be an exciting show, and I'm excited to share this very valuable information with you. The first thing we need to think about when we think about starting the process of a strategic plan is it's hard to map out where you're going if you don't know where you are today. As you start your strategic planning process, start with looking backwards. Start with seeking information and knowledge about how you are really doing, not about what you think, not about what you feel or what somebody says or does. You need data. You need facts. You can't make really good business decisions unless you have really good information to base that off of. And so, first step in this process is to conduct an assessment. Assess your business. Well, what does that mean? That means having somebody outside of your company come in and open up the hood, look under the hood, and look at all the parts and the pieces of the engine that drive your business and do a complete assessment. It sounds involved. It sounds like it's going to take a long time. It really doesn't. You can do this in the matter of a few weeks, maybe sooner, depending on the size of your company and the complexity of your company. But within a few weeks, you can have a really good understanding from an outside business coach like me, or a consultant, or somebody that's an expert at business assessments. Take a look at your business. And so, what are the things you want to assess in the business? You're looking at all the dynamics of a business. You want to look at your marketing, your sales, your communications inside and outside of the company. You want to look at customer service. You want to look at operations. You want to look at your HR functions, your technology functions, your financial functions, and see how well they are performing, how well the team and the company holistically are working together to achieve common goals and objectives. And you kind of rate those on a rating scale, like on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of these different areas. And you come up with a score. You want a score that shows you how well you are doing. That is very, very important. It starts shining a light on things in your company you may or may not be aware of. You want to bring all things to light. You want to shine a light on all of the things so you're not surprised and you actually know what's going on from a benchmark best practice type of an assessment from a professional that knows how to do that and do it well and give you the data and the things out of that that help you move your company forward. So first, start off with an assessment. Once you have an assessment, there's a lot of really good things in an assessment. There's going to be a lot of positive success stories to celebrate, where you capture success stories with clients, success stories with your employees, projects that went extremely well, opportunities in the market that you may have taken advantage of. Different things are going to come out, and where you have opportunities to celebrate success, I highly advise you to kind of pause in your company, bring your teams together and celebrate that success. Hand out kudos, hand out trophies, hand out plaques, hand out gift cards, whatever you may do to recognize people's hard work and efforts in celebrating the success. Always, always celebrate success. It's so simple. You think everybody would just normally think about that, and it's common sense and you just do that, but you'll be surprised at how many people are focused more on all the things that aren't going well, all the opportunities to improve, and they're focused on what they need to do next to continue to get better and better. And those are important, and we're going to get to those here in a minute. But you must always, as a leader, take time to slow the train down, recognize what's going on in the trenches, recognize the hard work, the overtime, the blood, the sweat, and the tears that drove success in your company. Celebrate that success. From there, you sit down with the team and you do a year-end review. So you've got an assessment, you've got a score, some things that are going well, or how you're scoring compared to benchmarks of like similar types of companies in the market. You're celebrating success. Step 3 is the year-end review. You sit down with your team and you go over the assessment. Why did we score a 2 out of a possible 10 points in this area? Why did we score a 10 out of 10 in this area? What's leading to that? This is a great opportunity for folks to come together and really get aligned. This is a very powerful conversation or set of conversations to have with your key leaders. Have somebody facilitate this for you. It'll make your job a lot easier when you do a year-end review. And so you want to look at some key components. One, what went well this year? Celebrating that success. What didn't go well? Which projects were successful? Which ones weren't? Who surprised us this year? What employees stepped up in ways we never thought they would? Which clients came to the table in bigger, better ways? Where were the market opportunities for you to go deeper and take clients from other vendors, or to offer different things to different people in different ways? Where were those opportunities? Where were those successes? How well, if you had a plan of any type of, whether it's a sales plan, a marketing plan, or just a broader company strategic plan, how well did we as a team execute the plan holistically together? Sometimes you'll find, and I see this quite often, is that certain entities of a company will execute a portion of a plan while many other entities of the company don't. You have to execute the plan together. Everybody's moving forward in their respective parts and pieces of the plan that they're responsible for. But how well did they execute that plan? Did we achieve the goals and objectives we set out to achieve? As far as revenue goes, as far as customer service ratings go, as far as hiring enough employees or stopping the things you needed to stop doing and adding the things you needed to add to the plate that were extra benefit and value. How well did you execute and achieve goals? If you did not execute that plan as you wanted to in the beginning of the year and you didn't achieve goals, the question is, why didn't we? What happened? What broke down? What changed? Those are really powerful conversations to have with the team. There's a lot of good meat that comes out of that that will inform you on your team's capabilities, their maturity level, their ability to adapt to change, their ability to overcome obstacles and challenges. That is a powerful, powerful conversation piece right there that you should be taking forward, that should be informing you of your new plan going forward in the new year. If your company and the people that are on the team in the company are struggling to execute things on a certain level today, what makes you think they're going to be able to execute something bigger, better, faster next year? They're probably not. You're going to need to figure out a different way to execute that, or you're going to be doomed to repeat the same level of performance. You're going to get the same outcome. So you've got to know that to be able to make decisions on what you can and can't do going forward. That informs you, well, do I have the right people on the team? Do I need to let some people go? Do I need to add some different people or skill sets or talents to the team that I don't today? Very powerful conversation. What lines of business need to be expanded? What is selling the most? Out of all the things we're selling, what are customers reacting to the best? What are our higher selling items, products, or services? How do we grow that? How do we continue to deliver more of that if that's a high demand product or service? What are the things that may not be selling as often or as much as we would like it to? Why aren't people attracted to that? Why aren't people buying things? Why are we seeing dips? Why are we seeing things not happening as we expected with some of the things we're offering? And so that's a very good conversation piece to have, because now you can start thinking about which ones you want to lean into the most and invest in and go all in on, and which things you may need a reality check on, that while they may be a good idea, they may be a good product or a service, but if the market's not responding to it, do you need to keep investing time and money and energy into that if the market's not responding to it? So you may need to make changes to those products that aren't selling, but you also may need to delete them from the inventory. And that's a great opportunity for you to get real and get honest about what's working and what isn't, and what needs to be expanded and highlighted versus what needs to be pared back or maybe even deleted so you can focus on the things that are working. Another question you need to be thinking about in the year-end review is, what are the opportunities we need to take advantage of? What market conditions are evolving that are tipping the scales in our favor that we need to capitalize on? Do you have competitors that are struggling and you have the opportunity to take advantage of this time to where you can provide things differently or better and take clients away from folks that are struggling and they can't keep up or they aren't delivering good customer service? What are the opportunities you need to be taking advantage of? Another thought is, well, what are the opportunities that we missed? If you were focused on certain things throughout the year, how do you know you capitalize on opportunities? What are the opportunities that were missed? Opportunities with existing clients, referrals, or other folks out there in the market that may be looking for your services and your products you just didn't get in front of, you didn't have time for, something fell through, a meeting dropped off, you didn't follow up. What are the opportunities missed that you need to make sure aren't missed going forward so you can tighten that ship up and capitalize on all of your opportunities? Another thing I would advise you to be looking at are, what are your threats that your company faces? What are the risks that your company faces? Are you aware of the threats and risks? What things happened over the course of this year that changed the dynamic of what you thought your risks and your threats were? Have you made them known? A lot of times threats and risk are unknowns. How do you figure out and make those unknowns known? And what things do you need to be thinking about in order to mitigate those threats and risks to your company so you can continue to thrive and move forward and not be held back by things that come out of nowhere that you didn't expect that sideline you and what you're trying to achieve this year? Another thing to look at is, where are you in the market? Who are your top 5 to 10 competitors? And out of the top 10 competitors, are you number one? Are you number 2? Are you number 5? Are you number 10? How do you compare to your competition? If you're not number 1 or number 2, why? What's preventing you from being number 1 or number 2? What things do you need to be thinking about? What are the things that your competitors are doing better than you that's edging you out and you not being the top dog in your space? Good opportunity for you to gain traction and market share. Another thing I would offer to you to consider is, who needs to be promoted in the company? Who were the go-to people? Who were the superstars? Who did we lean on the most? Who worked harder? Who worked smarter? Who worked overtime? Who put all the skin in the game to make things happen this year for us? Who needs to be recognized? Who needs to be promoted? The flip side of that is, well, who are the boat anchors? Who's holding us back? Who's causing us the most problems? Who's not getting it? Who's not leaning in? Who's not doing the things we need to be doing? Who keeps causing the most problems that may or may not be a good fit in the company anymore? Who do we potentially need to let go in order for the company to excel and be replaced by somebody that may be more mature or more experienced or more engaged, has the ability to be engaged? And lastly, what's holding the company back holistically? Is it people? Is it lack of maturity? Is it processes? Is it procedures, systems, integration? Is it your customer service? Is it bad clients or too many good clients? It's overwhelming you and you can't keep up. What exactly is holding your company back from being the best it can be, delivering the best services and products possible? What's not allowing you to achieve the highest levels of excellence possible? Because you have to know that, you have to have a plan in place to deal with that, or it will constrain you. It's like being shackled and handcuffed, and you just cannot move as you need to move your company forward in the right way. So that is the key kind of components of a year-end review of what's going well, what's not going well, what do we need to do to pivot, change, and evolve and grow and mature and things like that. The answers to those questions, in addition to the feedback you get from an assessment, are really critical building blocks for going what goes into your strategic plan and how to prioritize that, how to dial in and focus on that on the level you need to ensure success for the new year. The next component beyond a year in review and an assessment is looking at some basic fundamental things of your company, like your vision, your mission, and your purpose. When's the last time you looked at that? When's the last time your team talked about that? Has it been a year or two? Is it relatively recent, or has it been 10 years? If you haven't updated your vision and mission and purpose statements in the past 2 years, it's time to revisit that, because at this point, the vision of your company and where you're going, the level of success you're desiring, the aspirations that you are putting forward in the company have probably changed. If you're trying to grow year over year after year, year after year, then your vision has to be elevated to go with it, to keep it higher than where your company is today. So it's aspirational and it's futuristic and it's stretching you and your people. And so if you change the vision, which you need to change every couple of years, then you also need to change the mission to go along with it, because things are going to change in what you do. It's part of the mission to carry out the vision to be able to achieve it. Another component you need to visit is your priorities. Based off the assessment and the year end review and what you're trying to achieve going forward in the new year, based off your new vision of your company going forward, is priorities. Everything can't be a priority. If everything's a priority, nothing's a priority, right? So you have to get real about your priorities and what you're going to do or not do. And a lot of times, companies and leaders in the companies will have disagreements on those priorities, but you've got to flush those out and have some really meaty conversations and run some pros and cons and cost benefit analysis on those things to really ensure you've got the right priorities. If you don't set the right priorities, your company's going to go in the wrong direction. Next, underneath that is defining the goals of how you're going to achieve the priorities. Priorities are kind of the umbrella, the goals fit underneath it, and there's usually multiple goals to achieve a particular priority. If your priority is to grow revenue by 10% this year, then some goals are going to have to be made around marketing and how to change your marketing strategy to elevate your marketing to the next level to drive new additional business. Your goals, you're also going to have sales goals and do things differently in sales to be able to continue to do what you did last year and then do 10% more this year. So use that as an example of how to categorize those goals underneath your priorities, because the goals are where things actually get done. Those are the things that are tracked. And those goals need to be SMART goals. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, realistic, and time bound, which leads us to the second thing, or the last aspect of your plan once you reviewed the vision, is what is the timeline in which you're trying to achieve these goals in order to achieve the vision of where you're taking the company when you're trying to achieve those things. Once you kind of outline those things, you've got the basic components of your plan laid out. Then it's time to get agreement. You need buy-in. You need people to come to terms with what's realistic and what you're able to do or not do. The next aspect, once you've developed this plan and you've got these components of the plan and these different aspects of the plan defined with clarity, is you need to break the plan down. The goals, the responsibilities, and the priorities need to be broken down and assigned to different people in the company that are the rightful owners of those things. So if it's marketing, you assign it to your CMO. If it's sales, you assign it to your CRO. If it's operations, you assign it to your COO, et cetera, right? Your priorities and goals and objectives have to be broken down to the departmental and work center level, or they'll never get completed. Every single person in the company needs to know where they fit in the big picture. So you've got a strategy, you got a vision, but everybody in the company is important and they need to know where they connect, how they're accountable to executing their part of their daily operations and tracking their specific goals that lead into the company achieving the broader strategic goals. Next thing I would recommend is once you have those in place is to set up a cadence for which you can review the performance of the plan. You kick the plan off in January of 2023. Great. We need a cadence for which we can follow up and do this work. And so getting them in a schedule, getting them in a rhythm so everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's rowing the boat at the same time, at the same frequency, together in unison as a complete company in a certain rhythm. From there, the department leads can subdivide these tasks and goals down into kind of daily work levels. This helps get the entire frontline group of people that are executing your daily operations in sync. It gets them focused. It allows them to communicate and to build trust and teamwork around these things that brings the synergy, the culture all together so everybody is working together. The next piece of this is you if it's not measurable, you can improve it. And so around your goals and your objectives, create metrics of when you're going to do these things, how you're going to do things, and what excellence is in that process. You've got to be able to measure that and put performance metrics in place to allow you to do that. Then once you've done all of those things, you've got a strategic plan that's ready to be packaged up, ready to be implemented across the board, ready to be sent out to every single member of your organization. Again, the purpose of a plan is to have put everybody on the same page, to have a document that solidifies everything across the entire company and allows your people to have a written down list of daily activities of things they need to do that's prioritized. That's what separates winning companies from losing companies. People that have a plan, communicate the plan, everybody knows what they're doing, how to do it, when to do it, and how to measure that. That's what you're looking for. Once that's happened, I'd recommend doing a company all call where the leadership of the company can introduce the plan, talk about it holistically, and continue to champion that, continue to promote that and make that a priority and get answer questions and concerns that people may have because it's new and it's big and it's bold. People may or may not be used to this. They may not understand everything. And it's an opportunity for everybody to come together before you kick this thing off and do this together as a team. Once that happens, the leadership has to provide the adequate resources and they need to monitor this and adjust this. I would recommend like quarterly reviews in order to ensure everybody is on the same page. At least quarterly reviews where the teams can look at it at the front lines level, the mid level, all the way up to the senior levels. That allows the full circle of your planning and actions, activities to be fully measured and executed in a way where you understand that full cycle. It comes full circle on a regular basis to ensure you keep the team all going in the same direction at the same time minimizing frustration, minimizing confusion, and it ensures that you end the end of the new year in the place where you want it to end, either meeting or exceeding your standards and your expectations and your goals. And so think about these things. I've laid out a very detailed process for you to follow that allows you to look at your year and end the year, the current year on the right note, and then start your strategic planning process. I've outlined all of the things you need to do and all the components, the parts and the pieces, and how to do it, when to do it. And so at the end of this podcast, you have a complete, recipe of success of how to maneuver your company forward in the best way possible. And when you do that, that will allow you to grow beyond your dreams. It'll allow you to achieve things bigger than what you thought may even be possible. And it's repeatable and it's measurable and you can improve it. And that's what you want. You want a situation where you can continuously grow and improve your company, with people individually and career wise and as a team and holistically as a company. And that's the aim of this 3-part series, was to set you up for success, give you the knowledge, the tools, and the resources to help you think through this. This is the time of year to do it. I highly recommend you connect with people that know this and know it well and can facilitate it for you. It'll make the process go a lot faster. And so as we end the show today, I think there's a ton of value and benefit here if you follow this process. I've used it many years, or many times throughout my 30-year career. These are the same types of things that I do, and I coach and train my clients on all over the world, and it works. It's proven and it's successful, and everybody that uses it wins. They always succeed. In the past 3 years in a row, even through the COVID years, when you average out all of my clients and their ability to be more successful, they've on average grown around 18% a year per client, because they use these types of tools and resources. So I'm trying to offer them to you. Use them as you need to. As always, feel free to reach out at any time. You can go to my website at soarhighercoaching.com and learn more. You can connect. There's free resources. You can access the podcast, all kinds of different things you can do via that website. But feel free to reach out. You can also go into the podcast show notes of whatever channel you're listening or viewing this podcast through, and in the show notes there's an email, and you can email us through that venue as well and ask questions, concerns. You can set up a free consultation, whatever you need. The whole purpose of this podcast is to provide tools and resources and information and advice to people to set them up for success. A lot of people just don't have access to these types of things. They don't even know what some of the best practices are, and we want to deliver those to you and help you. And so as we close out the show today, thank you for your time. Feel free to go back and use this 3-part series to your advantage. That's what it's for. And I look forward to seeing you next week on an all new show, and I look forward to spending time with you then. Have a great week.